Day 1 witness testimony in the trial of Karen Read. The defendant accused in the death of John O'Keefe began with Paul O'Keefe, the victim's brother, taking the stand. Under direct examination from Assistant District Attorney Adam Dali, Paul O'Keefe provided a gripping account of his brother's life, the events leading up to his tragic death, and the tumultuous relationship between John O'Keefe and Karen Read. John O'Keefe, fondly known as Johnny, served the Boston Police Department for 16 years, displaying dedication both to his duty and his family. He became the guardian of his niece and nephew, Kaylee and Patrick, after the passing of his sister and her husband. Paul described the family's initial plans to care for the children themselves, before John stepped in to provide a stable home. Despite their grief, John's commitment to his family never wavered. The testimony shed light on John's relationships, notably with Amy Fortney and the defendant, Karen Read. His relationship with Read was marked by volatility, with frequent arguments, although there was no mention of physical altercations. A crucial moment came when Paul recounted a heated argument he witnessed between John and Karen during a family trip. This tension escalated tragically on January 29, 2022, when John was found injured in the snow, later succumbing to his injuries despite efforts to save him. Paul vividly described the emotional turmoil of seeing his brother in the hospital and their final moments together before John's passing. The family returned home to Canton, grappling with their loss. Paul also recalled his positive relationship with Karen Read, expressing gratitude for her help with the children and even praising her to her own parents. However, the events of January 29, 2022, cast a shadow over this relationship. The courtroom was presented with video evidence of that day, including Read's arrival and departure from John's house. During cross-examination, defense attorney David Yannetti had no questions and John O'Keefe was excused. The next witness to take the stand was Erin O'Keefe, who is married to Paul and the sister-in-law of the victim. Erin described her long-standing relationship with her husband, Paul, and the O'Keefe family, shedding light on the familial ties and the close-knit nature of their bonds. Erin's testimony provided a timeline of events, including Read's entry into their lives in 2020. She recounted their initial meetings, characterized by friendly interactions and occasional gatherings. The prosecution highlighted a conversation between Erin and Read on January 28, 2022, revealing tensions between Read and John O'Keefe. Erin recounted Read's distress over an argument about taking the children to Dunkin' Donuts, suggesting underlying issues in their relationship. As Erin described the events of January 29, 2022, she recalled waking up to her husband's frantic phone call, learning of John O'Keefe's tragic fate. Erin's emotional testimony underscored the shock and confusion that enveloped her family in the aftermath of the incident. Erin's testimony also revealed Read's demeanor and statements following the incident. She recounted a phone call with Read, during which Read expressed fatalistic sentiments. Throughout her testimony, Erin O'Keefe's demeanor remained composed, yet her words carried the weight of profound loss and unanswered questions. Defense attorney David Yannetti chose not to cross-examine Erin O'Keefe. Officer Stephen Saraf of the Canton Police Department took to the stand as the third and final witness of the day. With 27 years of dedicated service to the police department, Saraf's experience lent weight to his narrative. He recounted being dispatched to Fairview Road at approximately 6 a.m. in response to reports of an unconscious person. braving challenging weather conditions exacerbated by a snowstorm. Saraf wasted no time in responding to the call. Upon arrival at the scene, Saraf encountered a distressing tableau. 3 individuals, later identified as Karen Read, Miss McCabe, and Miss Roberts, alongside an unconscious male, later identified as John O'Keefe, a Boston police officer. Saraf wasted no time in assessing the situation, checking for a pulse and initiating efforts to locate an automated external defibrillator called an AED for potential resuscitation. One notable aspect of Saraf's testimony was his description of Karen Read's emotional state. Read, visibly distraught, expressed overwhelming guilt and distress over the situation, underscoring the gravity of the events unfolding before Saraf's eyes. In an act of compassion, Saraf provided assistance to Read by sheltering her inside a police cruiser to shield her from the inclement weather. Throughout his testimony, Saraf painted a vivid picture of the scene, detailing landmarks such as a flagpole, bush, and fire hydrant near the residence. He meticulously described the conditions at the scene, including heavy snowfall, near blizzard conditions, and the presence of footprints around the unconscious individual. Saraf's observations provided crucial insight into the immediate aftermath of the incident and the collaborative response involving other first responders, including Officer Melanie, Sergeant Good, and personnel from the fire department. To bolster Saraf's account, photographic evidence presented in court depicted the residence and footprints surrounding Mr. O'Keefe's location. Additionally, video footage from Saraf's police cruiser offered a real-time perspective of his arrival at the scene and subsequent actions. Following the conclusion of the direct examination, the judge inquired about the defense's intention to question Officer Saraf, to which they affirmed their plans to do so. Acknowledging the lateness of the hour, the judge decided to adjourn proceedings for the day, with the understanding that Day 2 would commence with the defense's cross-examination of the witness.